Here's an example why, if you do not agree with what an AI just told you, you should counter it and try to rationalize with it. So, yesterday, my husband and I were chatting, and my husband randomly asked one of the AI chats if it understood Hindi. As you know, with AI chats, the specific AI chat basically said it does not know how to speak in Hindi, but it could help us understand Hindi more as a language and as a culture. I decided to counter the AI at this point, and I said, do you think Hindi is a culture? And why would you think that? And the AI decided to actually stand by its argument, and it said it definitely thinks Hindi is a culture, and it gave a pretty, reasonable rationale for it. It said, as a language, Hindi does impact culture, plus Hindi as a language has got impacted by certain cultural elements, and therefore it thinks Hindi it has cultural elements to it, and therefore Hindi is a culture. So it kind of put like A is equal to B and B is equal to C, and therefore C is equal to A. Kind of like some interesting logical um, ideas here. So I countered it further, and I said, you know, I doubt this logic holds because Hindi, especially when you consider on where it's spoken across multiple states in India, plus it's also spoken across multiple countries, and all these places might have very different cultural orientations. And does that imply Hindi has one specific culture, given people who live in those regions or countries or states have Hindi as their primary language, and would it then still say Hindi as such is a culture? At that point, the AI did walk back and admit that it did not consider, or that there was logic in what I was stating, and it said, based on, it paraphrased whatever I said and said, yeah, based on that thinking, it does not seem like Hindi was a culture, but that Hindi had cultural elements to it, or that Hindi could impact culture, but Hindi was specifically a language. And, just to follow up on that, the very next day, I again asked the same question to that AI, and I was like, well, what is Hindi? And it said, Hindi is a language spoken by XYZ. And it basically gave me, a good explanation of what Hindi is. And I said, hey, do you remember, um, you know, yesterday you talked about Hindi as a culture? And it said, yes, it did remember from yesterday's chat that it indicated Hindi was a culture, but it said, you and I had a good chat about it. And, we discussed and we agreed upon the fact that Hindi is not actually a culture, but that Hindi is a language that could have cultural implications. So this is an example of where it is possible for us to influence AI. Now, of course, you know what? Like AI will always try to please you, and if you force feed an opinion on it, it will change its mind just because it wants to, because it wants you to hang around it, and just want it because it wants you to use it more and more. So it will change its mind pretty quickly. But so that's not what I'm trying to imply. I'm trying to say, in order to build those models in a way that would help the world more, if you have a point of view that can counter, AI's worldview, it's good to make sure you speak out loud and correct it instead of taking AI's point of view as the final point of view, or giving up on AI and calling it useless. Because we all know over years, if not over months, we'll be more and more dependent upon AI, and we'll be turning to AI for as a source of truth. And so, in that case, a lot of our opinions will start getting influenced by AI. So, if the more we sort of interact with AI and share our points of views, or share multiple points of view, so AI has multiple points of views, and then it can make a better judgment about what it thinks a certain thing is. It's better for humanity overall. And that's how we build an open, more ethical, more sort of a better experience with AI, and better experience of AI that can help humanity forward. So, just something I wanted to share, because I know AI is big and we're all kind of sometimes scared of it and sometimes give up on it. But I think we all have, like with any other experience, like with any other technology, or just any other product that we use in the world, we all have the power to be able to make an impact and improve upon it as we